Every family dinner tells a story. Some are filled with laughter, some with silence, and some with memories that refuse to fade. But what happens when one seat at the table stays empty night after night, and that emptiness speaks louder than any voice? This is the story of the empty chair. It was a small dining room, warm and welcoming, with soft yellow light hanging above a wooden table. Every evening the family gathered to eat together. Plates of food were served, conversations flowed, and the room filled with the comforting noise of home. But no matter how lively it was, one chair always stood out. The chair at the end of the table. It was always empty. That chair belonged to Dadaji, the grandfather of the family. For 50 years he had sat there, sometimes quietly listening, sometimes telling stories, sometimes scolding the younger ones to eat more vegetables. His presence was as natural as the rising sun. But now he was gone. The family tried to continue their routine. They still set the table for 5, even though only 4 people sat down to eat. The chair was never moved, never put away. It stood there, waiting, like a silent reminder of the man they loved and lost. At first it was painful. The youngest, little Ali, would look at the chair and ask, "When will Dadaji come back?" His innocent eyes didn't understand why everyone suddenly went quiet. His mother would smile through her tears, holding his hand, and whisper, "He's not coming back, Beta, but he's always with us." The older children tried to avoid looking at it. For them, the chair was a mirror of absence, a weight pressing down on their hearts. Even the father, who had grown up listening to his own father's wisdom at that very table, found it hard to speak. Meals became quieter, laughter came less often, but then something began to change. One evening, as the family sat for dinner, Ali pulled the empty chair closer. He placed his small toy car on it and said, "Dadaji can sit here tonight." Everyone froze for a moment, unsure whether to cry or smile. The mother leaned forward and said softly, "Yes, maybe he would like that." From that day on, the chair was no longer just a symbol of loss. It became a symbol of memory. Sometimes they placed fresh flowers on it. Sometimes one of the children would sit there while telling one of Dadaji's old jokes. The father began sharing his father's stories, reminding everyone how he had worked hard, how he had sacrificed, how he had loved them without limits. Slowly, the chair that once brought silence began to bring conversations. The chair that once carried sadness began to carry laughter again. It reminded them not only of death, but of life, the life he had lived, and the legacy he had left behind. Still, there were moments when grief returned sharply. On Eid, when the family dressed in new clothes and gathered for their traditional breakfast, the chair felt emptier than ever. On birthdays, when candles were lit, they remembered how Dadaji used to clap the loudest. On cold winter nights, when tea was poured, the father sometimes stared at the chair for too long, lost in thought. But grief is love that has nowhere to go. And so, the family learned to pour that love into each other. Years passed. The children grew taller, the house changed, but the chair remained where it always was, worn, a little shaky, but steady. The mother refused to let it be thrown away. She said, "This chair has seen everything, it carries his spirit." One evening, when Ali was much older, he sat in the chair himself. He looked around at his family and smiled. "I think Dadaji would be proud," he said quietly. And for the first time in years, the family felt peace. The empty chair was no longer just a reminder of what was missing. It had become a bridge connecting past and present, reminding them that love never really leaves. It just takes a different form. Every family has an empty chair. Maybe it belongs to a parent, a grandparent, a sibling, or a friend. The emptiness can hurt, but within that space lies memory, love, and legacy. When we sit together, when we share stories, when we keep their seat open in our hearts, they live on. The empty chair is never truly empty. It is filled with love that time cannot erase.